Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lives. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now, on today's episode, I was having a pretty tough time trying to decide what I wanted to do. It's a pretty warm day, but it's beautiful outside. So I definitely wanted to work out outside in the bullpen and see what I can get done. But on today's menu, it was back squat. And I really didn't know what kind of back squat I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to do regular back squats on a barbell or on an SSB, or maybe try something different. I don't know, like front squats, like a variation of such. Maybe an overhead squat. That'd be kind of fun to do. I never thought about that until right now. But what I ultimately decided to do was to do the axle bar back squat. But I decided to add something that I've never really done before. At least I don't think I've ever done before. So that's the thick axle bar right there. It doesn't have any knurling. It's 2 inches thicker in diameter than a normal barbell, and it doesn't bend like a barbell does, so it doesn't help with the lift at all. And I'm also going to add those chains as well, just to kind of play around with it, have some fun with it. I don't know, see what we can do with it. I'm also going to be doing some weighted ab mat sit-ups, and I'm also going to be pulling this sled back and forth across the bullpen, just trying to activate the quads a little bit more, because I really feel like I need to focus on the quads today. So let's pop into today's workout and see what we got going on. Now for today's strength giant set, I'm going to be doing the back squats, but I'm going to be doing it instead of a barbell with that axle bar, which is super fat. And I'm also going to add the chains as well to really add a different stimulus. And as I'm going up in weight, I'm also going to be doing some weighted sit-ups. Not a lot, just enough to activate my core and to make sure that I'm bracing correctly when I'm going up on the weight on the back squat. And then I'm going to be pushing that sled as well, just across the bullpen, not a big deal. But then later, that's going to be a lot heavier. And that's going to be the strength giant set for the day. So now, is it easier to lift with an axle bar than it is with a regular barbell? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. It doesn't really matter. The whole point of today's workout is to change the stimulus. That's all. There's pros and cons between a barbell and an axle bar when you're back squatting specifically. With a barbell, it has knurling on it, so it sticks to your back a lot better. And it's thinner in diameter, so you can get your hands wrapped around it. And when it starts to bend because the weight is getting heavier on the ends, you're kind of able to use that as your advantage, because you could start to wrap that bar more around your shoulders at the top of the lift. And then when you descend and ascend from the hole, that bar kind of starts to wiggle a little bit, which kind of like actually helps you lift and get out of the hole, because barbells are meant to be lifted. With the axle bar, it's thick in diameter. It's 2 inches thick. So it's like grabbing a Coke can. And it doesn't have any knurling on it. So when it's on your back, it actually feels like it's going to roll off if you don't do everything very perfectly. And it's also stiff. So as that weight gets added on the end of that axle bar, the bar doesn't bend at all. So it's very stiff, which makes it a little bit harder to get out of the hole. And if it does start to bend because there's too much weight, then you just broke your axle bar. Congratulations. And now it's bent forever, and you're never going to get that shape back out unless you're a metal craftsman. So the whole point of today's exercise was just to change the stimulus. I'm trying to get better on the back squat because I've been rehabbing my left inner pain on both my outside hip, my inner thigh, and on my left knee. For some reason, the left side of my body right now is just not in my favor. So what I've been doing lately is doing back squats on my deadlift days, and vice versa. I'm going to be doing some deadlifts on my back squat days, which you'll see on this video. But it's mainly just to get more volume in, trying to push it a little bit more. And on my back squat days when I'm deadlifting, it's a lot lighter, and I try not to wear a belt. This is just giving me a chance to get more repetition and to expose that hip and that knee to more of the rehab that I'm trying to do today. And as for the chains are helpful, but again, they have pros and cons. When I take it off the rack, those chains swing like crazy, which makes it kind of hard already since that axle bar doesn't have any knurling on it. It's moving all over on the top of my back. So I really have to stabilize myself. And since the axle bar, like I said, might slip off my back, I have to really make sure that I'm in a good position before I can lift it, which is a great training tool. And that's kind of how I'm taking it today. I'm just trying to make sure that the extra factors that the chains and the axle itself bring, that it's cueing my brain to do the right cues when I'm back squatting. Because sometimes when I have a barbell, I get a little lazy and I don't do the cues correctly. So the axle bar and the chains, because they're swinging around, make it so that I have to actually concentrate or I know I'm going to miss it. And the chains, because they decompress it to the ground, makes it a little bit easier to come back out of the hole and just fight about a quarter squat up until lockout. And since I'm only doing 1 rep, I'm able to overload the movement today and not worry about reps today and kind of just see where I'm at. And again, just work on my cues. Now for my top set, I was really getting in my head because this is a weight that I wasn't really sure I was going to be able to hit. And the moment I took it off the bar, it felt really heavy on my back and I felt uncomfortable doing that. So here's a little trick that I like to do to psych my brain back up. I add more weight to the bar, as you can see here. So I'm adding 50 pounds more to the bar. And then what I do is I get under it, I pick it up because I know I'm not going to squat it. And I just walk it out. And then I just place it back on the rack. Then what I do is I load the weight back to what I wanted to squat, which is going to be 400 pounds on the bar, and then those drop chains are an extra 40 pounds. So 440 pounds total is what I'm going to be aiming to hit today. And this is going to make it a lot easier getting off the rack. It's going to give me the confidence that I need. So then when I get it off the rack and I get in a good position, it doesn't feel as heavy as it did before. And now I feel I have the confidence to at least try to squat it out. Now I just need to see if my left knee and my left hip is going to be able to handle the load. And I actually do a pretty good squat mechanic. Could have gone a little bit lower, like an inch lower, but I'm pretty close to parallel. And I wouldn't have been able to have done that if I didn't do my secret trick. So there you go. All right, so that little trick kind of worked a little bit because this was definitely a little bit scary when it was on my back. And once I overloaded that weight and walked it out with ease and then placed it back and then lowered the weight down to what I wanted to squat to, I felt a lot more confident. And that's why I was able to get out of that hole a lot easier. So if you are struggling with squats and you're struggling getting out of your head on a really big lift on your PR, that's a trick that I recommend. It works almost every time. Like I guess 90% of the time, it works 100% of the time. But I guess what I'm most happiest about is I did this without any knee sleeves and without any wrist straps. All I had was a belt on. So it really shows that my hip rehab and my knee rehab is coming a very long way. And after looking at the video, I realized I could have squatted maybe about an inch lower. But for now, just knowing that I can do this, it gives me a lot more confidence in my hip and in my knee. Now let's finish this workout really strong. Now for the variation giant set, I just decided to do front squats for 3 rounds and to keep it in the same strength format as before. And what I kind of found out, since I've never really done a front squat with the axle bar before, is holy cow, that thing wants to slide off my front rack so bad. I was having a really hard time even with this lightweight because my quads were really tired from the back squats, but I could not keep that thing close to my neck. And that's the key to doing a front squat, is getting as close to your neck as possible. And like I said, I just kept it in the same format as the strength giant set by doing the weighted ab mat sit-ups and just doing that 130 pound sled for a drag across the way. And you can see I'm moving a lot slower now because the heat's starting to get to me, fatigue's starting to get to me. And this axle bar was really a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So I'm mainly just going to work up to a 6 rep max. But even with this weight alone, I really felt like it was a 6 rep max just with 170 pounds. I was really struggling with this. And it kept wanting to slide off my shoulders and onto the ground. I really had to fight it the entire way, which is actually probably a good thing because it made me have to do my cues a lot better. Same reason when I'm doing the back squat with an axle bar, I really have to make sure that I do everything correctly, otherwise it slides off and it doesn't bend right. So I'm not able to manipulate it like a normal barbell. So this is my top set, and I'm kind of a gomer and doing full idiocracy at this point, but I wanted to get a good shot, for the gram. I end up hitting that rack, which kind of throws me off and back, and I'm already fighting enough as it is. So each fight and each squat, I'm trying to make sure that I keep that in the front rack position, and eventually it just gets to the point where that big old axle bar ends up just falling off my shoulders just because it's so thick. Again, though, I've never really done front squats with an axle bar before, so this was something that was new that I haven't tried before, and it was very foreign to me. So I feel like the next time I do it, I'll be prepared for that a lot better, and my quads were getting nailed, so that was a good thing. Now for the assisted giants, I was doing 3 rounds, and now I'm just becoming a really big idiot at this point. I'm starting to redline myself, but I'm basically going to do a 6 rep max, not too heavy, axle deadlift. So I'm going to do 6 reps, and the moment I'm done with that, I'm going to immediately go and I'm going to add more weight to that sled. So that sled's going to get heavier and heavier between every interval, but so is the deadlift. And if I had just stuck to 2 plates on that axle bar, everything probably would have been fine. But you know me, I like to push the limits. So I'm just going to keep adding weight because I want to get more volume and I want to get more technique into the deadlift and into the back squat, just trying to rehab that hip and really putting a lot of pressure on it. And it's been a while since I redlined myself, so I really wanted to see how much I could push myself. And I've done this weight before on the sled, and I've been able to move it a lot faster. So this just goes to show you that the heat and the fatigue and everything that I'm doing, I'm definitely at my red line at this point, which I really don't recommend. But you know, you can see as I'm laying here, like I'm trying to catch my breath, I'm trying to let my muscles relax. Like I was just dying as I laid in the shade. But the point is, I really wanted to see just how far I could push my body today. And I don't like to do this every single time I go to the gym, but I've been taking it easy lately in the gym and I've been progressing at a rapid pace. So I really wanted to make sure that I knew where my limit was at. And I can tell you after this workout was done that I definitely had hit my limit. I'm gonna have to take a lot of time off, and if I do go to the gym, make sure that I take it easy. So with the 400-pound sled, this is heavy enough just without doing those deadlifts. And I was really struggling here. I actually had to give up on this lift because I just wasn't moving properly like I wanted to. But I don't like to give up. So I went back to it and I tried it again, and I was able to get closer to the line that I wanted to actually drag it to. But this really overworks your quads a lot, and that's what I wanted to focus on. So I really want to make sure that my quads were dead. So mission accomplished. And then for the accessory giant set, I was doing 3 rounds, and I was just doing some seated bicep curls with those kettlebells, just kind of making sure that I'm finishing off the biceps for the end of the day. And then I would immediately move into stubborn curls with those lighter kettlebells, just to kind of finish off those biceps. And due to my fatigue and the heat and all of that, my biceps really didn't need a whole lot to really get them pumping. And hitchhikers, of course, because you know I love doing hitchhikers at the end of every workout. And that was the workout for the day. All right, so that felt pretty good. This heat and all the weight, I definitely pushed it to my max, to the gluteus max, which I know that's a terrible dad joke, I'm sorry. But literally, we did work our glutes today, so it's kind of fitting in this case. I really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I hope you learned something new. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.